All right. Am I live? It looks like it. Let's see. Can I hear myself? All right. Am I live? Excellent. All right. So this is day 2 working on the GMTK jam entry. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Is there a way to copy the... share? Here we go. I'll copy this. I'm going to paste it on Twitter. Let me just share this to Twitter really quick. Live. Sweet. All right, let's get to work. So I have some tile map updates to do here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do those really quick. And then I'm going to start building out the level because I think that... Yeah, I just got to start building out like the core of the game now. Because I've spent a lot of time so far in like the polish elements, which is fine, but I need to like start building out a lot more of the core gameplay stuff. So I'll be doing that in a little bit. That ought to do it. So I got to just build out these corner tiles here. Oh, that's not right. Hey, top 10. It's going good. How are you doing? Making some good progress this morning on this entry here, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Feeling pretty good about that. This needs to go away. Oops. Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing about game jams. It tests your ability to stay motivated, which is a test for sure. What is your idea? I really hope that these are the tiles that I need. Should be. Okay, perfect. So this is kind of what I was going for. So let's just drag those on up. Let's do down. Sweet. So this is the interior, and then these are like exterior walls. I think that's what I needed. I guess we'll find out. Hey, Shuba, what's up? Welcome to the stream. It's going good. How are you doing? Platformer where you roll dice and it spawns a random attack. Okay. So it spawns a random attack against the player or for the player? Oh, that kind of makes me think of like a platformer, just jumping off of your idea, a platformer where you have to roll the dice to give you like a platform that you can boost off of, but every time you roll it, it spawns like a random enemy that attacks you for the player. Yeah, okay, that's cool. It would be an interesting idea, I think, either way. Spawn an enemy that's hostile randomly, or spawn an attack that's for the player randomly. Okay, I need to export these tiles. That's what I'm doing. All right, let's go ahead and edit those. Resources tiles. Yeah, I'm really feeling the time pressure. I need to get the game basically done today so I can have all of tomorrow to do like playtesting and any additional tweaks. So, still got a lot of day ahead of me though. Still got a lot of day ahead of me. Why does this grid keep resetting here? Okay. All right, so now I got to figure out what these bit masks are. Okay, so I need this corner, which means that the top or the right. Okay, so the right cell. Man, I don't know. Bit masks always trip me up. Oh, this one. Okay, so I need to put a bit mask on this one. So it's center. Is it just this? Oh, I think it's just that. Yeah, that should be it. And then these ones here are the opposite. Yes. And I already have bit masks for those ones, so I won't redo those. This one is actually incorrect, I think. Is it incorrect? We'll see if I need that piece. But I don't think I do. So let's go ahead and... Oops. Okay, that did not work. Let me... These rooms are very annoying. There we go. Oh, I did the bit mask wrong. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Oh, because the floors... Okay, the floors don't count as empty space in this implementation. You have to be really careful with how you do your tiles and bit masks. Hey, Shiba Dog Studios, what's up? You have no creativity, so that never crossed your mind. Well, I think creativity is like... I think it's one of those things that can be learned. I think so. I don't know. Can exercise it, practice it. So now I have to figure out like what is actually going on here. So for this piece, everything but the bottom corner. Right? Hey, I got it. All right, sweet. Now the problem is if I wanted to... Oh, I suppose I could just carve out sections of the level if I want to create like little blocks. Okay, so this is fine. Oh, tile maps. They always throw me for a loop. You know what I'm saying? All right. That's the bit mask we want there. That's the bit mask we want there. Like that. All right. So... Uh-huh. Oh, did I accidentally rotate this? You gotta be careful not to rotate things too. I could use a piece like that, I suppose, but we'll not do that. There we go. All right, our tile map is now whole. Sweet. All right, let me show you guys what I've got going on. So for those that don't know, this game is essentially just a top-down shooter kind of game. except your character throws dice, and instead of the enemies having a traditional health bar, they have a die or multiple dice over their head that indicate what number die you need to hit them with in order for them to die. So yeah, their health is basically just like a matching game of like throw the correct die at them. And that's basically the idea. And then I'm just sort of building it like you'd expect like a top-down shooter kind of roguelike to be. And then I have like room transitions here, so the camera will snap to these rooms, and then I can go up to the next one, and then they spawn when I enter a certain section. So I still need to make like a door that's going to be blocking the player, so they have to clear the room. And I'm going to be very forgiving with this game. I want the player to have an easy time going through the whole thing. So if the player were to die, they'll just respawn sort of in the last room that they were in and then come back, and then they can try it again. And then eventually at the end, I want to have a boss fight. But the enemies for now, they throw playing cards at you. I figured, well, why not just stick with like the game props, right? So they throw playing cards, and that's like the bullets that you have to dodge. So that's the bullet hell element. And that's essentially the idea. So I just got to build it out and finish it. And I have to tweak the mechanics because it's not feeling tremendously good at the moment. The randomization is definitely hurting the experience a lot. So I'm probably going to bias the dice that are generated for the player in the player's favor. Like I'll always give the player like 2 or more dice that are guaranteed to be able to kill or hurt an enemy. And then I'm also planning on making like a little indicator above the enemy's heads that indicates when you currently have the matching dice loaded. So that way the player doesn't really need to like look at the dice at the bottom here. They can just sort of look on the field, so to speak, where the enemies are, and they can be alerted to like, hey, this enemy can be hurt right now. That'll make the game significantly easier, but I think that's for the best, because with game jam games, you should make it like just dead easy. Give the player as good of an experience as possible, and that should be the singular focus. That strategy probably doesn't work if you're trying to build a full game, because people will lose interest very quickly if it's too easy, but not so for jam games. The dice should be in the UI. Well, there are dice, so these are the player dice right here underneath the player. Lots of UI work to do there still, but thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you think it's original. I think it's pretty cool, but we'll see how it turns out. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Dean. Good to have you. Okay, so the tile set's been updated. I'm just going to build out a little bit more of the game here. Show you what that looks like. So I've got like these rooms that I'm painting everything all on one big tile map because I didn't want to deal with like trying to stitch a bunch of different tile maps together from multiple different scenes. So it's all the same tile map, and then the way that I denote rooms is I have this little room scene that I can edit with a tool script here, so I can actually just shrink this like that. And I can just loosely match it to the room. And then these are the areas. So this outside area here is what triggers the camera to transition into this room. And then the inside area is the area that triggers the enemy spawning. And then in order to do enemy spawners, I can just add them as children to the room node and then place them wherever I want. And these will automatically connect to signals that are emitted by this node here. And that's how I'm managing my enemy spawn. So these are configurable as well. I can put whatever scene I want in here for them to spawn. And yeah. Hey Leaf, is Godot easy to learn? I think so, yes. If you have programming experience, it's obviously going to be easier, but yeah, I think, and there's plenty of tutorials out there. for you to learn. So I'd give it a shot. I mean, the advice that I always go to is you don't have anything to lose because it's free. You're not going to be out any time, or sorry, you're not going to be out any money. You just, you might lose some time if you decide not to stick with it, but yeah, it's risk-free. So I would encourage you to give it a shot. Oh, okay. So if you already have game development experience, then yeah, Godot you're going to be able to pick it up pretty quick. I switched to Godot I used to use Game Maker Studio 2 quite a bit, and I switched to Godot from that. And the learning curve, there's a learning curve for sure, but if you work with it steadily for like a month or so, you'll figure it out, and then it'll make a lot more sense after that. Also, I was learning right when 3.0 alpha was coming out, so the experience for newcomers is probably even better now that there's been a couple of minor versions of Godot since then. I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. This is, by the way, this is my opinion working almost exclusively or pretty much exclusively in 2D. So I don't know what the 3D experience is like that much. So that's how I build rooms, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to kind of make this winding. I'm not going to do like branching paths or anything like that because that's too much to implement at once. So I'm just kind of creating an interesting pathway for the player that's not all the same. I can also add some like little barriers inside the room here if I want. Oops. Okay, there we go. So I could do something like that, and then that looks pretty nice. Gives a little bit of interest to the room. Could also do something like that. And then let's give these rooms names. So that's starting. I guess they don't need names. I can just call it like 1. Let's do 1, and then we'll duplicate it. Bring this over here. Uh-oh. Okay, that's the problem. I can't duplicate these. I need to instance a new scene. Put that there. And I'm just guesstimating these sizes here. I'm not going to be super particular about matching it up perfectly. That'll work. Want to try to add at least another enemy type as well. So 2 enemy types and a boss. I have to get that all done today and tomorrow. Plus, I still have a bunch of polish to do, so we'll see. I'm definitely feeling the time pressure here. Let's take a look at how this is looking. I do think that I'm going to do a dash for the player too that resets the dice that are currently loaded. I think that that will feel very nice. That's pretty fun. I like the little extra terrain in here. All right, let's do another one, and then I'll start working on something else. Put a big old block in the middle of the room there. I just learned that Control-Shift-A is the hotkey for instancing a scene, so I like that a lot. Actually, I wonder if I should be matching these up as close as possible because it's kind of... But then the spawn area gets shrunk a lot. Here's what I'm going to do. I have like a hard-coded offset when the room is generating the spawn area. The spawn area is based on the size of the room area minus 4 tiles in each direction. Do you write the code in the built-in script editor? I don't personally. You can. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Atlas. I use VS Code because I'm working in C#. You can write C# in the Godot editor, but I would not recommend doing that. And I use VS Code for everything. I use it for work. I use it for GDScript. I use it for C#. I just find that it's just nicer because I can get all kinds of extensions. I can make it look how I want. I could do font. One of the big things I'm using is Cascadia code, which is from Microsoft, which gives you like the font ligature. So something like an arrow like this becomes represented as a single character, which I like a lot. So that's why I use it. You just get all the extra nice features that come along with having a dedicated IDE. Yeah, GDScript is great to use it. BRB, one sec. All right, I'm back. So for the spawn area, I'm just going to reduce this hard-coded offset that I built into the code, and then I'll go back to my main scene, and I have to build it first. That's the one thing when you're doing tool scripts with C#, you have to be sure that you build again before your tool script takes effect. All right, I suppose I should be matching these up as close as I can, so. Do that, and then for this one, there we go, that looks good. And then we'll match up this one as well. I really wanted to take a shortcut, but apparently that's not going to work, so no shortcuts for me. Doesn't autocomplete 3.5 stuff? Oh, interesting. Does the, I wonder if the extension needs to be updated. The VS Code GDScript extension. Okay, so all these room sizes are matched up more or less, except for this one. I need to give it another... There we go. Cool. And then we'll just move the enemy spawner under there. Okay, let's give it a quick run through. Are you working on a GMTK jam entry Atlas? All right, up into the next room. I'm gonna make some kind of door that locks the player until they complete the room. Also, I probably want multiple waves for each room. I kind of like how small this one is. Haven't done any jams in a while. All right, so built out some of the level. I guess it's game. All right, what is the next thing? So I still need to do like enemy animations and also do like a door that locks progress. Let's continue focusing on the main game loop. So I'll do the door first. And I have to figure out how I want to do that. What should I use? Wonder if I should just do like neon lasers or something. Because this tile set, or this this color palette that I'm using is actually just like a retro 80s synthwave sort of palette. So I could probably get away with doing like neon lasers or something of that nature with some particle effects. Oh, you forgot about the GMTK. You can still get started. It would be a crunch, but you might be able to do it. Mecha Jam 3. Oh, is that the one? I think I saw that on itch.io's jam calendar. Was that the one where you make like mech games? So if I do a laser, give it like a gradient of some sort, maybe. Something like that, perhaps. It's probably too thick. Do something like that with some particle effects. Might work. There must be a mech in the game. Awesome. That sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'll have to look out for that one next time. Effect. Laser. PNG. Okay, let's create a new... Just call it a gate. We'll use a line 2D for it. Where's my scene? There we go. Line 2D, okay. I could make this really fancy, but I'm kind of pressed for time, so... What I'm going to do instead is just make every sort of walkway or hallway the same width, and then that's all I'll do. Okay, we're gonna go from 0, 0 to probably 64. So make each hallway like 4 wide. That should be fine. Then we're gonna do a texture. Stretch the texture. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's create a world environment. So add child node, world environment. Let's create a new one. We can do glow enabled, and then HDR threshold. I wonder if we could just keep it like that. Wait, did I do this right? Add environment. I think I have to change something here. Oh, we'll do a tone map too. Canvas, here we go. That's what I needed. I need the background mode to be canvas. And then let's change the tone map. There we go. Filmic, Aces. No, I don't like that. Let's try Filmic. I think I like the ACES better. Cover for the player? That's a good idea. I was kind of doing that with... whatchamacallit? Like this section here, like this terrain. Oh, that guy went into the terrain. That's not good. Oh, I didn't put a collision on the corner pieces. Okay, I'm going to have to do that. Actually, let me do that while I'm thinking of it. But I do want to add like barrels and stuff too, so... But it's just a matter of like, I have to figure out what I need to prioritize. So I'm going to take stock of where I'm at after I get like the main loop done. and then see what I can realistically accomplish by the deadline tomorrow. The 48-hour jams are brutal. Brutal. Okay. So if we do glow, so I enabled glow, and I think the way that I can get the glow to work on this now is I can simply change the modulate to raw and then do something like 1.2. Okay, so that'll give it somewhat of a glow, and then I can, let's just add the gate anywhere. Gate. Let's see how that looks. It's glowing a little bit. It's glowing a little bit. All right, all right. Let's just crank it. We're gonna crank it. What the game developer doing? Welcome, PlayStation Japan. I somehow have a feeling that you're not the actual PlayStation Japan. I am making a game for GMTK where the theme is roll of the dice. And in this game, it's a 2D shooter, essentially, except instead of the enemies having health bars, they have a dice or a die above their head. And you have to hit them with the appropriate or the matching numbered die in order to kill them. That's essentially the idea. Trying to recruit right now. Yeah, have your hiring manager reach out to me, PlayStation Japan. I'll do an interview for you. That glow's looking pretty good. Looking to hire some new recruits. Excellent. All right. So this is kind of bland and kind of boring, but if I was going to make this a full game, what I would do is I would make this a sine wave of points and then have it like electricity, like wobbling and waving. But I don't believe I have time for that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to duplicate this a couple times. Just like that. And then what I should be able to do is I can rotate this however I want to block off the various rooms. So it's like that. Oops. Oops. Do I want to make it 4 wide or 3 wide? Let's see. I think 3 wide is probably better. So let's do 3 tiles wide instead. Points. What is, well, I can just do 3 times 16. There we go. Please join our game studio. Please join our game studio. I don't know about that one. It's not generally a good sign when a company is begging you to join them. Generally speaking. Let's make little nodules or whatever you want to call them. Little... How big is this? 4? Okay, so let's just do a 6x6 and we'll use the wall color and we'll just do something like that and then a little nodule. And then maybe we'll just, I don't know if that's going to look good. Hello, Dr. Toucan Kamoon. Have you ever done 3D in Godot? I have not. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. I did experiment with it for like a couple hours at one point. But I'm not the person to ask about that. It seemed okay though, from what I remember. I mean, it was like normal Godot except in 3D. Apologies if you can hear the cat in the background. We'll just call this laser node.png. Sprite. Oh, did I do this wrong? Nope, should be good. So that looks bad right now, but when it's within the rest of the environment, I think it's going to be just fine. How does that look? Okay, so that's kind of what we got going on now. So let's see if that looks any good in game. I love the character. He's so goofy. I am using C#, yes. We want to hear the meows. All right, then. If it's meows you want, meows you shall get. What happens if I put the glow or the modulate at this level for the glow? I don't know what happens here. Cat cam. I do have a camera right here, but it's not hooked up right now. I was intending to start doing my face in videos, but my office is so ugly, so it's not very aesthetic. Dang. All right, let's turn down the glow, or the modulate rather, on all these. Bring it back to normal. So I'm just applying the glow on everything now. Yeah, that's looking good. Does it look okay up here? For some reason, it doesn't work that well for vertical elements, but oh well. Demand cat cam. Sorry, can't do it. Cardboard to your chair so it blocks everything behind you. Then I'll have a cardboard background, and I'm not sure that's better. All right, well, I'm just going to stick with what I've got here. So now I need to actually hook the gates up to the rooms, and the rooms need to be able to detect when all of the enemies are dead. How do I want to do that? So I want the enemy spawners to be able to spawn multiple enemies. So I cannot drop the gate until all of the waves of enemies have been killed. And so I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. Print down an image of a nice office into the cardboard. Genius. That would be kind of funny, actually. All right, let's get to work on the gate. I'm going to grab some water real quick, though. So give me like 30 seconds. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My cat is also being an absolute menace right now. Always when I'm trying to work, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's get the... I'm going to commit what I've got so far. Okay, so how do we want to do this? So first of all, the gate probably needs to connect to the room. So here's my room script. I suppose what I could do is like add up all of the enemies that each of the spawn areas are expected to spawn and then keep track of that at the room level. But the problem is, like, I was trying to keep the room and the spawn areas decoupled from each other. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible anymore. So the room doesn't know anything about the enemies. It just emits whenever the player enters the spawn area. The enemy spawners assume that their parent is the room, so they connect to that signal, and they spawn. I suppose I could make it like a two-way relationship, so I could say, yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Maybe what I can do is I'll make it two-way, so I'm going to put a signal on the enemy spawner. Spawning finished. And I'll just make the enemy spawner responsible for reporting when the enemies have all been spawned and all of the enemies have died. I think that's going to be the best that I can do here. So spawning finished. So what I'm going to do when I spawn an enemy is I'll create an enemy. Actually, you know what? I don't even need to create an enemy signal. What I can do here is I can do instance scene or null. Yeah, so I can do node get first node of type, health component, connect, name of health component dot died, this name of on enemy died. Obviously, I'll have to do some extra logic here, but for now, I can just emit the signal name of spawning finished. Cat Nico. I don't know what that means. Okay, so the other problem, though, is that I need to... So the room will need to know about the spawners, at least how many spawners there are. So that way I can keep track of all of them that have finished. All right, well, it's a jam game. We can make it spaghetti. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So let's do this. For each var child in this dot get children. Do I have of type? All right, I'll just do a link here. So get children dot where x is enemy spawner. So I'll just iterate over that filtered. Array does not contain a definition. Cool. Okay, so for every child that is an enemy spawner, we're going to do spawner dot connect. Why is this complaining? The name spawner does not... Oh. 27 hours left. No, don't tell me. Well, I guess where I'm at with this game, less than 24 hours into it, it's in good shape. So, oh man, there's so much stress. So much stress. What am I connecting to? Oh, spawning finished. This name of on spawning finished. The other thing I'm going to need to do is private int spawner count. We're going to increment the spawner count in here and also connect to this. Let's do another one. Private int required spawner count. So we're going to increment the required spawner count, and then we're going to change this one to finished spawner count. And then when those are equal, we can drop the gate, right? I have dice and a character. Excellent. Azir, stop. Oh my goodness. Go lay down. He wants to play. I can't play, but I have 27 hours left. Can you hear him digging at the cardboard box in the background? It's very loud. Do you use OBS for streaming? How are your scenes set up, if I may ask? When I tried it, there was a 10-second delay before the game shows up on stream after I launch it. Yes, I do use OBS for streaming. My scenes are very basic. I just have a desktop capture, and I have my image in the corner. And honestly, the image is there in the corner so that when I open up the start menu, you can't see like my full name in the Windows like account manager thing. That's the only reason that's there. But and then I have an NVIDIA card, so I can use the NVIDIA NVENC encoder, which allows me to use the CQP rate control, which is just like a constant quality encoder. And I just set that to, I think, 18 or 20 or something. And it's low bandwidth. It works just fine. And I connected to YouTube through OBS as well. I didn't put a stream key in. YouTube does have an option for low latency, so you might want to try that. But I think 10 seconds doesn't sound out of the ordinary in terms of the delay. So I wouldn't, you can only get the latency down so much. 10 seconds really doesn't sound that egregious. William John James. All right. I don't know who is that? Who's Nico? I don't know these references, if they're references. Okay. So when the spawning is finished, we're going to increment the finished spawner count. And then we're going to say if finished spawner count is equal to required spawner count, then let's emit another signal. Public delegate void. Let's just say finished. Why not? Emit signal finished. Cool. All right, let's create a gate script now. So I'm going to script. I'm probably going to want to animate this at some point, but for now, we're not going to. Public override void ready. That's the only thing I don't like about C#. It's very verbose at times. Not as verbose as Java, but still up there. If get parent is environment.room, room.connect, name of, room.finished, this name of on room finished. And of course, we're going to need to add probably a static body here. So let's go ahead and do that. Static body, we'll add a collision shape 2D. And then we're going to make this a good old rectangle. Good old rectangle. And then I believe we want to do 24. And I don't know what the X is. Oh, I see what you mean, Atlas. Okay. Oh, these are just common names. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Atlas. Yeah, I just streamed the whole screen, which comes with its own risks, but I find that it's just easiest to do there. All right. I suppose I didn't need to cover it that much, but that's okay. We're going to make sure that it's on the terrain layer, and then we're going to make this accessible as unique scene name. And then I'm going to go into my gate here, node, and then we're going to say % collision shape 2D. I guess I didn't need to do this, but if I want to animate it later, this is going to be handy, but I'm actually just going to queue free it here, so I just went through all that effort for nothing. That's all good. Too paranoid to use desktop capture. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I was worried about that too, but I'm just trying to be very careful. And also, yeah, I put my little icon in the corner to block the most obvious information. Don't want y'all coming and knocking on my door now, you hear? I think most of my viewers are in Europe anyway, so that would be like really dedicated to cross the ocean to come and find me. All right, now I think what I should be able to do is let's try it out. So I can put a gate in the starting room. Just like that. Let's see if it works. So I shouldn't be able to cross this. Yep. Let's kill these guys. Hey, it works. Wow, first time. First time. Let's go. I'm right here. Open up. Please don't. All right. I'm just setting up gates everywhere. Kind of boring, kind of straightforward. Hello, can I have my tile map? Thank you. It's looking good. All right, let's just play through it and see what it looks like. I never made a game in my entire life. Well, I certainly encourage you to try. I would not expect to be successful your first try. And I would not expect your first entry to be received well. So as long as you go in with it, like, yes, you should try it and you should keep going. But you should also temper your expectations. It's going to be difficult. You're not going to create a good game your first or second or third or fourth or fifth times doing it. And as long as you go in with those expectations, then yes, you should absolutely try. Exactly. Yeah, it's about fun. You should go into the game jam with the mindset of learning and pushing yourself. That's what you should go in with. You shouldn't go in with the intention to get number 1 or number 10 or whatever, because that's not likely to happen. And if you go in with that mindset too, then you become pleasantly surprised when you do place higher than you thought you might have, right? So it's all about tempering expectations and going in with it with the right mindset. That's my advice to you, and that applies to everything as well. You know, there's a saying, over-promise, no, that's not it. Under-promise, over-deliver. Go in with low expectations, temper yourself, and then try to do a really good job, and you will always surprise yourself. And that's just a good way to set yourself up, because then you're just like excited all the time instead of dejected and demoralized. Should I make this room bigger? Yeah, exactly, top 10. Yeah, that's exactly right. At least you won't get last place. Well, that's true. Yeah, it's also very unlikely that you will get last place. Very unlikely. If there's 18,000 people or however many, you know. What? What, bud? Cat needs to be buried. 1 second. There we go. All right, he's all wrapped up in some blankets, so he should be done for now. All right. All right, this is shaping up well. So the gates are working. I think I'll stop with the gates for now and move on to something different. I do need to do a lot of... Ooh, there's an error here. Can't change this state while flushing queries. Oh, classic, classic, classic. Okay, that should fix it. Cat contained successfully, yes. It's a constant battle, but we win. Every time. Cool. All right. I need to pretty up those gates later, but yeah, I'm just trying to get everything built out for the most part. Okay, so the question now, do I animate the enemies? Do I do more work on the enemy AI now? And their attack patterns and all that? Or do I like build a boss? Do I add some more stuff to the level? Do I work on the player movement mechanics? The enemy does need to be animated, so I think I'm going to do that real quick. And by real quick, I mean that's probably going to take an absurd amount of time, but here we go. Now I got to figure out where he is. There's a cute little guy. All right, let's do... I'm going to create a new folder, call it enemy. Oh no, what happened to my timeline? There we go. Make the boss and then just polish and add lots and lots of juice. Should make the game fun even if it's not very deep. I think you're right. I think that's kind of the direction that I'm leaning. If I can add a third enemy type, that will be icing on the cake. But I think, yeah, let's nail the enemy animations, the enemy attacks, the player mechanics, add the boss. I should be able to do that in time for the deadline. And if I finish ahead of schedule, I can explore adding additional stuff to the game. So I think you're exactly right. I think that's the direction that I should take. And that's the direction I will take. So basically, we're going to call the game feature complete right now. We've got character shooting, we've got an enemy shooting at the character, and everything else is just tightening and making it feel nice and look nice and all that good stuff. Feature complete, feature freeze. All right, here we go. So I'm just doing surgery on this guy at the moment, just chopping him to pieces. So the pieces can be individually animated. He doesn't have any arms. Does he need arms? Nah, we're not doing arms. That's too much work. Life hack. If you're building enemies for your game, don't add arms. Okay, now let's export every piece of this dude. So how do I do that? Yeah, I want to do the head layer first. We're going to output the file. Export. Okay, let's do the body. Export, and then the feet. All right, all done. Alrighty then. So probably going to do the same setup as the player, where I have a visuals node here, and then I have each sprite individually animated. I think the enemy is going to be significantly easier to animate. One, because I've already done it for the player, and number two, because there's fewer parts. So let's go ahead and open up the enemy scene. Hello, enemy. Let's create a new node. Call it visuals. Add a sprite. Call it head. And then we're going to create a torso and feet. All right. Where is... Here we go. So we've got the head. We don't want to use centered. I want to manually control this. Offset. Here we go, and then -11, is it? Okay, that works. Torso time. Do I want to do that? No, I think I want to do this piece more centered in the body. Yeah, just like that. Then we'll move it up. Okay. And then the feet. All right, then. We've got our enemy recreated out of requisite parts. Now let's go ahead and add the animation player. We'll call it body animation player. All right, the first thing I want to do is I want to do a reset track for the transforms. So let's create a new, we'll call it walk animation. And I'm just going to click all these keyframes to create reset tracks for each of these. Actually, I could probably just do this on the reset track itself, but that's probably useful to reset them for the walk cycle as well. So we'll just go ahead and leave it as is. We're going to make this guy, the theme that we're going to go with for this guy is something like really shambling and rickety and raggedy. Make it look like he's about to fall apart at any moment. All right, let's get some of these things out of the way. All right, now it's time to go take a deep dive into my less than ideal animating skills. Probably want to reorder these as well. Like the feet should be behind the torso and the head should be above the torso. We're going to do some squash and stretch on the legs. Ooh, that's too much. And then we want the rotation degrees probably to be reset back to something like 0. Reset the position. Okay, and then we also need to do like a flip, a sprite flip in here. So feet, flip H, we're going to turn this off at first, and then we're going to insert a key right here. Actually, that probably, it's symmetrical, so it doesn't need to be flipped. So get out of here. Okay, let's loop it. Turn everything to cubic. Something's wrong here. Maybe I should delete those keyframes and make it like 0.4. So it just wraps around. That looks all right. Okay, torso now. Let's change the position. We're going to make the position go up to -10. Whoops, not -190. See ya, torso. It's way up here now. So the name of the game is to make it super rickety and raggedy. There we go. And then we're going to make it tilt the opposite direction as the feet. Oh, here we go. We could probably give that some stretch as well. So like squish it in the X just a little bit to give it the impression that it's like moving. I like that. Just held the 15-degree rotation on the torso just a little bit longer, and then make it tilt back. And of course we can make that cubic. I have no clue how this is going to look in game. Oh boy. Not looking super great right now, I don't think, but whatever. We'll roll with it. All right. Head time, and we're going to make the head bob the other way. Nice. Yeah, A Sprite's great. I like it a lot. It's a good tool to have in your toolbox for sure. I think this needs to go up more. The torso needs to go up to like -12. Probably needs to hold at -12 as well. That might be too much, but we'll see how it looks in game. It might be fine. That might be too rickety. Let's put it on autoplay though and see what it looks like. Yeah, that's too much. I need to make the torso less jumpy, so back to -10 for you. The problem is that it's like way down here while the legs are up. So maybe that should just go up even more. Okay, that's looking better. That looks like it fits together better. I might also turn down the rotation degrees here to like 10. Okay, let's see how that looks. They're not... Wait a minute. Whatever. I have some things to check on the enemy, but it's looking okay, I suppose. I think maybe the head position needs to start going up earlier. I'm going to remove this scale keyframe. I think that's making it look awkward. So we'll remove the scale keyframe from the torso. Okay. Getting there. I'm going to turn down the rotation degrees of the torso even more. Because it appears to be shifting to the left and the right too much. So hopefully reducing the rotation. Yeah, that's looking better. It's a lot more subtle. And you can see what the enemy actually looks like a lot better. Whatever they look like, I don't know. Don't ask me. I just drew something, man. No questions, please. All right, so the enemy walk animation is looking pretty good. So we need like a charge up animation now. But first I want to figure out like what is even going on here. because the enemies don't appear to be staying in their attack charge state for very long. Or at least they're not decelerating very quickly, so I don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe I'll make the deceleration coefficient go up a little bit more to 20. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Maybe I'll knock it down to 10. That's better. All right, let's make an attack charge animation now for the enemy. So let me commit this. All right, so for the attack charge, what I want to do is I want to make the enemy just like slinky up, you know, and shake and vibrate a lot, and then slam right back down for the attack. You know what I'm saying? So let's see how I can accomplish that. So again, we're going to do the position. Rotation degrees and scale for each of these. So the torso, I'm going to send that up to -12. The head is going to lag behind just a little bit. Oh, that's feet. I was like, what are these? I was confused by those being at 0, 0 for some reason, and that's because they were not the head. Wish there was a way to have the animation player just by default use cubic for everything. There we go. So maybe we'll do some squash and stretch now for the head. So the head scale is going to go down to 0.5 in the Y and 1.2 in the X. Then we'll do 1.1 in the Y and 0.9 in the X. Oops. And then we're going to go ahead and do 1 and 1. And we probably want to oscillate between these things, actually. What does that look like? I don't even know if that's going to be noticeable, honestly, but okay, we're going to do the same thing for the scale for the torso. Yeah, I don't know if I like the jiggling or if I like the, or if I would want it to shake, like want him to shake back and forth. Let's delete these keys. And then we'll start maybe just shaking him back and forth. Sweet. And then for the torso position, we'll send him the other way. What's up, Poklop? Poklop? Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. Well, that's kind of silly. Let's do another cycle of that. I said duplicate. And then we'll do another cycle on the... And then we're going to slam the dude down. Oops. So he's going to go up. He's going to shake. And then he's going to squash down, and that's when he's going to eject the card. I don't know. It's just random. It doesn't make any sense, really, but we'll stick with it. So the torso scale, let's see. We probably want to go like very much in the X and very little in the Y. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Oh, too fast. Okay, that's looking all right. And then for the head, probably same deal. So let's do, what is this, the scale for the head? Yeah, so I'm changing the easing curve so that way it doesn't like transition the scale very much until it gets to the next keyframe. Because that's very important to do. Okay, so same deal, 2 in the X, 0.5 in the Y. Then we're going to do, let's see, what am I doing? 1.5 in the Y and 0.5 in the X. Yeah, and then we'll do 1. Might want to do a little bit more bounce, but... Oh, that looks good, actually. That looks not half bad, honestly. So it's a little bit of a 1 second animation, but that's okay. Okay, and then we're going to want to write on the impact here. Oh, hello. What's up, sir? All right, so right on the impact here, I'm going to call a method here. Can I just call shoot die? Where is that even? Enter state attack charge, enter state attack. Yeah, I want to move this to a different method so I can call it from the animation player. Hey, FryDev, welcome back. Good to see you here. Getting a larger gang here on these live streams. Welcome, everyone. So I guess I don't even need any code in this enter state for my state machine. Let's create protected. Cool. Build. I'm going to add a call method track right here. And I'm going to call method shoot die. All right. Oh, that's the charge. I'm going to rename this to attack. Rename. I don't even know. Oh, tell me about your idea, FryDev. I'm super curious to hear. So the state attack charge, I don't think I need 2 attack states now. I can probably just have 1 attack state here. So let's do body animation player. So when I enter the state attack charge, body animation player dot play attack. If it's not playing, then we're just going to change state back into state normal. Let's see how that looks in game. And then otherwise, what am I going to do? Thought of an endless Western shooter where you shoot and lasso dice to pair them up into snake eyes. Oh, that sounds really cool. I like that idea. I'm already getting some cool visions of how that might play. Very cool. So are you working on that now then? I'm going to add a leave state to my attack charge to reset the interval timer. Why are they all on the same timer? That's not good. Doing the pixel art right now. Cool. Yeah, that's what I like to do as well. I like to sketch out the art first, get an idea of what the theme might look like and how the game might play. Plus, I don't know, a lot of people will say, you know, just white box your game first and test it out. But honestly, like, feels like half the fun comes from the visuals and the animations and all of the extra stuff that's not critical to the gameplay. So I find that I get more motivation to work on the game when it looks good from an early stage. So that's why I spend a lot of time early on making effects and animations and stuff, because it's a lot easier to get excited about something that's looking really good. That's how I feel about it though, but other people may feel differently. Why are they all using the same timer? They're all activating at the same time. That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh, you know what? It must be because they're using the same seed for the... Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm calling randomize on... So I actually wrote these little... I wrote a random timer. But it looks like they might all just be using the same seed because they're all being initialized at the same time. So that might be why they're just generating the same sequence of random numbers. That's not good. Sets up a time-based seed to generator. Okay. I will have to think about how to fix this later, but for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say... Is it an int? I don't know. Well, hoping the arts and sounds will make it really fun. Yeah, you can go a long way with arts and sound. Okay. I'm just going to have to do that. Let's see if that fixes it. Nope, they're still all on the same seed. What in the world is going on? Is this... They're all... Oh, this is not good. They're all using the same... The same random time interval. All right, well... And I don't believe timers are like... They're not shared. They shouldn't be shared. Script random timer GD... Do I need to make... All right, I'm just going to write my own. I thought that this was going to be helpful, but apparently not. So I'm going to just make my own randomized code here. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. I think I know what the problem is. I don't think I was calling the appropriate method because it's a GD script with a start method, but I'm calling start on the timer object. So I think it's bypassing the GD script. I think that's the problem. So what I need to do instead is I need to do call start, because then that will call, I believe, the proper script. So I'm going to try this again. Random timer. We're going to set auto start one shot minimum 1.54. Okay. I think I was just using this wrong, so let's try that. Oh, I do not like going on those detours. There we go. Fixed it. Sweet. Everything's looking good. Die! There we go. Sweet. Okay, so that's looking good. So my enemy animations are done then, right? I think so. Unless I want to do like I gotta do like a death animation of some sort as well. I would probably just handle that with particles or something. But that can all be for polish. Okay. So a couple of things that I still need to do. Let me commit this. I'm gonna discard the changes I made to that. So I need to work on the player mechanics quite a bit, I think. Because I want to add like a dash or something. And I also want to make these dice like, I want to animate those. So I'll probably spend some time doing that. Oh, I missed. That's actually kind of fun, like when you have the dice or the die that you need to kill an enemy, and then you miss, you're like, oh no, I choked. I also want to add a short reload time, because I want to do two things with the player. I want to add a short reload time, but I also want to add a dash that instantly refreshes your dice. So the player can either wait for the reload time or they can dash immediately after they've used all their dice. So I guess we'll work on the player dash then. Make it like super stretchy. Oh, thank you, Gabbins. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Good to have you here. I'm out of water once again, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some more. So give me like 30 seconds, if you will. All right, I'm back. Excellent. Okay, let's get to work on this dash then. Now that I'm all watered up. Yeah. So, that is a problem. I agree with that. And I have two things that I'm going to do to mitigate that problem. One, I'm going to give the player the ability to change the dice that they have loaded by dashing. So, but the problem is that that's still a victim of randomization, right? So I'm actually going to bias the randomization in favor of the player and give them maybe 2 out of 4 dice that are guaranteed to be able to kill an enemy. I'll play with that number, but I do want to bias the randomization in favor of the player, so it's not purely random, so they're not just like waiting until they get the right thing. I want to give them some sort of a guarantee that they can be effective with the current set of dice that they have, because then that adds another interesting layer, which is that you might have a die loaded that will kill an enemy, but you also want to dash in order to avoid an attack. So you have to make a choice between, do I try to fire the die so I can kill the enemy, or do I reload by dashing and lose my current die that I know I had, right? So I think that's going to create a little bit of an interesting dynamic by adding that guarantee in there, because then it's not a straightforward decision to dash every time, right? That's how I'm thinking it's going to play out and how it's going to make the game more interesting, but it needs to be play tested. Obviously, it could turn out to just be a total mess, but we'll see. All right. Okay, dash. Yeah, let's do a dash. So I'm going to start with the animation. And basically, I'm just going to make these squash and stretch, and that's it. And then, nope, not position. Scale, and head scale as well. Actually, might need to modify the position of these things, but we'll see. It's a really good solution. Well, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you think so. I think it's going to work. I think so, but we'll see. Can never be certain with these kind of things. So what do I want to do for this? So let's change this snap to 0.05. I think what I'm going to do is the body. Yeah, let's just take the body and we're just going to freaking squish it, dude. We're just going to get it right down like a pancake. Oh, it needs to be squashed more than that. That's rookie squishing. And we're more or less going to copy that squash and stretch. Spamming issue is still somewhat there, but right direction to fix that. Yeah, you're probably right. It probably... I'll think some more about how I can mitigate the spam issue a little bit more. Ooh. Okay, so I think I do need to move the head position at least, so let's go ahead and do that. So the head needs to be like Ooh. I'm just copying the scale for both. No need to make things more complicated than they need to be. I want to change these ease curves so that it stays squashed more. Am I doing the curves wrong? Oh, I was changing the wrong thing. Oops. I think this needs to squash even more. We're going hard on the squash. That's probably too much, but we're gonna try it. Okay, so that's the dash. And you can imagine the player is going to be moving very fast horizontally. So it's almost like a slide more than a dash. And the hands don't do anything. I might need to do a dash animation for the hands as well. But let's implement this in code and see what it looks like. And then we'll go from there. All right, so we're going to do a dash. I don't have an attack state anymore, so I'm actually going to remove this. So we're going to add a state.dash. State dash. Again, this like state machine implementation is available in the repository Godot utilities. So github.com/firebelly, look for the Godot utilities repository, and you'll see these C# implementations for the state machine and other things as well. And open source, MIT license, so feel free to use it in any of your projects if you so choose. All right, so we need to set up a dash speed multiplier. Private float dash speed multiplier. Private const float. We'll do 2. We'll start with maybe 3, and then we'll make it decay really fast. Private const float dash multiplier decay. We'll make it decay after half a second. Are you sure you're not a professional game jammer living off those internet points? I'm very sure. I'm very sure. I am not, unfortunately. I'm a professional software engineer. That's how I pay my bills. If I could make game jams and make a good living doing it, or do game jams doing that, then I would do that for sure. But, you know, the trick to doing things well in game jams is, number 1, do a lot of them, but number 2, build up a library of reusable code that you can just import, right? Like what I did that speeds things up drastically is I took a bare bones project with all of the settings configured that I normally like to use, included all the add-ons that I needed. I have a GitHub workflow that automatically builds my game in GitHub Actions, so I don't need to worry about that. This is also open source. It's called Godot export, so you can use this as well. So I don't need to worry about manually building. I don't need to worry about generating the Windows icons. I don't need to worry about any of that. And plus, I've got this library that I've built up over time of all of these helper methods that make common routine tasks very quick. If you do that, you're going to see your productivity go way up. Oh, and what I was mentioning with the bare bones repository is I created a bare bones repository with all of my default settings that I like to use. And I created that as a GitHub template. So anytime that I want to create a new project, I just create it from that template and all of that boilerplate is already done. So that's like the biggest thing you can do to improve your productivity for game jams is just build up a library and streamline as much as possible. So that way the only thing you're focused on is building what's unique to this game. So I think that helps a lot, doing those kind of things. Okay, so let's have a current dash multiplier is equal to whatever, we don't really care. So when we enter the state dash, we're going to set the current dash multiplier is equal to dash multiplier. So this is the max one. During the state dash, we're going to say current dash multiplier is equal to mathf.clamp, and we're going to clamp the current dash multiplier minus dash decay times delta. Well, this is actually get process delta time because we're not in that. And we're going to clamp it to 0 and dash multiplier. I guess I could have used min or max instead, but whatever. You know what? I'm glad you pointed that out, Any also, welcome back to the stream, by the way. I don't think you were here earlier, so welcome back. Yeah, see, I think about these things, but I don't think about them as videos. So I'm glad that you're pointing them out because, yeah, I think these would make really good short videos for the channel. It's just like everyday, like it's hard for me to take a step back and like think about what I could talk about because it's just like what I'm used to. But yeah, now that I think about it, I think I could probably make a good amount of video content with a lot of this stuff. Just clip this stream, put up 15 seconds from this stream, super low effort. No, I won't do that. But yeah, I probably will make videos once I recover from this game jam. So once the current dash multiplier is less than 1.1, just a random number, then we're going to change back into the normal state. So when we enter the state dash, we also need to store the direction that we're dashing in. So private vector2 dash direction. So when we enter this state, we're going to say dash direction is equal to die origin. Oh, am I doing this in the wrong? Oh my goodness. I was doing this in the wrong script the whole time. I didn't. No, I was going to say I didn't do the dash animation for the enemy, did I? I did not, so we're good. I'm just going to copy everything that I did over. Wow, I did like everything in the enemy without realizing it. This is the other bad thing about copying and pasting code, is that sometimes you edit the wrong thing because you can't tell. So, okay, I think everything's okay now. Right, I need the dash multiplier and stuff up here. Okay, we're going to close the enemy now. All good. We're back. Die. Okay, so we're going to go to the die origin, get mouse direction. So that's going to be our dash direction. And then when we're in the state dash, what we're going to do is we're going to say velocity component dot speed modifier. So our speed modifier is going to be our current dash multiplier. And then we're going to accelerate to, or we're going to accelerate in the dash direction. So dash direction. Okay. The other thing that we want to check too is if velocity component dot velocity.length. So we're going to check if the length is less than a certain number, because this will indicate that we've ran into a wall or something. And so rather than check a collision, I'm just going to see, you know, if the velocity is below a certain threshold. And if it is, then actually, wonder if I should do that or not. We'll see how it plays. But yeah, rather than checking a collision, I'm just going to check if the velocity is below a certain thing. The only thing that worries me here is that I wonder if it's going to prevent me from being able to dash while I'm standing still. But we'll see what happens. That probably is the case. So maybe I shouldn't do this. All right. Well, we'll worry about that later. Velocity component, move this. Cool. All right, then. So let's add the enter state. Enter state dash. And then I'm going to add input dash. And we're just going to make this either shift or right click or space. That's a nice thing about, you know, multiple input maps. A lot of people like to be able to rebind their keys, but that's not really feasible to do for a game jam. So what you can do as an alternative is just provide a lot of sensible options inside of the input map. So I just made 3 different buttons do the dash ability. And it's just like, if people discover it, there's going to be a key that I recommend in the tutorial. But if people discover like they can use other keys, then doesn't really hurt anything, right? All right, let's see how the dash works. Oh, I need to play the animation. Okay, let's go. Okay. I think it's getting there. I think I need to up the dash multiplier and try that. Ooh. And I think the decay needs to be a lot higher as well. That actually makes me want to, with the dash ability here, I actually want to go into my body and I want to make the head like fall behind quite a bit. So if we make the head like go back to like -8 right here. I have no clue if that's going to look decent, but let's see. Doesn't look bad. I might even super exaggerate the position offset. And then also do the same for the body. So just take the body and do a transform as well on the position. Not as much as the head, but we'll do that. Does the head need to be squished more? Yeah, I think maybe the head scale is too big. And it's not squished enough in the Y. Oh, I guess that looks all right. It's a little bit slidey, so I'm going to bump up the multiplier decay a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean I'm going to double it. Okay, there's another tweak I need to make. So I made this go in the mouse direction, but I probably should do the input direction that the player is doing. So I'm going to get the movement vector dot normalized. If move vec dot length is equal to 0, then we're going to use the mouse direction. So we'll fall back to the mouse direction if there's no input. Nice and bouncy. And also I'm going to play the walk animation for the hands just because it looks extra goofy. I actually don't know if that's even visible, but Oh boy. I can't tell if this looks good or awful, but we'll roll with it. That dash is still not feeling quite right. I should add some particles for sure, so I'm going to do that. But it doesn't feel... I don't know, there's something about it that just doesn't feel... Do I need to bump up the speed here to like 7? Yeah, the stop is sudden if you're not doing any input. But if you're doing input, it transitions pretty well into the normal thing. I think I just need to make it faster and also decay faster. That's all I need to do. Oh, there's a bug. If I'm up against a wall, it detects the collision immediately. Gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna turn down the speed multiplier a little bit. All right, this game is shaping up. So I'm going to do dust particles and like a little trail, like a motion blur for the player. I wasn't originally going to do dust particles, but I really like your suggestion, so I think I'm going to do that for sure. Oh, there's one thing I need to do with the dash, and that is I need to make the hitbox, or the hurt box rather, for the player disabled. So let's go ahead and do that. So collision shape 2D, we're going to create a reset track. I'm going to disable it, and then at the end, re-enable it. I think the decay needs to go up just a little bit more. Maybe 27. Just cut a couple of frames off of the dash length. Okay, that's feeling snappy. It's fast. It's not over long, so it returns control to you relatively quickly. Now the thing is this even getting all the way through the animation, or is this going to leave the player shape disabled? I suppose I can just fix that with code, so I'm gonna... I'm just gonna make sure that that can't happen by doing it in code here. So yeah, I'm gonna remove it from here. And I'm also gonna remove it from the reset. And I'm gonna go ahead and just do that in the enter state dash. So I'm gonna say node hurt box shape, and this is a private collision shape 2D. Okay. Collision shape 2D dot disabled equals true, and then when we leave the state, collision. Oh, wait. Why did I call it that? Hurtbox shape 2D, or hurtbox shape. Wow, okay. It's too early in the day for me to start losing my mind. I've got multiple hours left of work. Okay, let's add this leave state. Oops. Come on. Thank you. Okay. Now I'm just going to dash through some cards and see if I avoid getting hit. Oh! I got a crash. Null reference. Oh, I spelled hurtbox wrong. And Godot is bugged, so now I'm going to restart. All right. Let's try it now. So I should be able to dash through some cards without taking any damage. I don't have any damage system for the player yet, but the cards will die if I run into them. So the fact that they're not dying when I dash through them means that it's working. This is shaping up pretty good. I'm liking how it's coming together so far. Okay. Particle time. I'm probably due for a break at some point as well, too. Does it say how long I've been streaming here? Do I have to go to the video? Oh. 2 hours, 15 minutes. Pretty solid. Let's do some particles. Hello, Power. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Hello, Power. Particles and proc. I am not doing any proc gen unless you're talking about the dice randomization. Oh, whew. I've actually been working since 6 a.m. I got up early today. So I've already been at work on this for like, yeah, 6 or so hours. And I'm sure I'll be working on it still at 10 p.m. in 9 hours. Any resources on how to learn pixel art? Yes. Pixel Pete on YouTube is a good one. I learned a lot about pixel art from that guy alone. There's another guy whose name I'm blanking on. If you just go to YouTube and type beginner pixel art tutorial and just find anyone that's using Sprite, then you'll learn a lot. That's longer than I spend working at my job that pays me. Yeah, I mean, me too. I don't spend nearly this much effort working at my day job. I was talking about, I was just working on this project. I strictly limit myself to 40 hours a week at my day job because I'm on a salary and that's my contract, 40 hours a week and I get my salary. You don't get any more of my time, sir. But I'll spend as much time as I want working on my own things. Mort, yes. Thank you. Mort is another good one. He wasn't the one I was thinking of, but yes, he's very good. There's a guy that I'm thinking of. He's British and got longer hair. I don't remember. I don't remember his channel name, unfortunately. All right, particles time. Let's go. Yeah, particles here. So we're going to make the particles choose a random color, either this light red or this darker red. Randy? I don't know. I don't know. He's bald. So I'm going to set up a sphere emission shape here. I'm going to go to animation, offset, offset random, so we get different shapes. We're going to give it a little bit of an angular velocity and randomize it. Then we're going to give it a little bit of, we're going to turn off the gravity, number 1. Then we're going to, let's use some lifetime randomness. Why not? We're going to turn the amount up to like 20, turn the lifetime down to 3.3, I mean. And then what else do we want to do? We want to play with the scale here. So we're going to do new curve texture. The classic, we're just going to bounce it in and then fade it out. Cool. And then for our colors, oh, let's set an initial angle as well. Okay. For our colors, where is that? Here we go. We have this color initial ramp, which is really nice. So we'll do a new gradient. And basically what this color initial ramp does is it picks a color in the gradient at random to start the particle at. So essentially you can have a random color starting for your particles. And so I've just got black and white configured here, but I'm just going to go ahead and choose that color and then choose that color. Adam Jonas. Yeah, I think that might be the one. That might be the one. Dash particles, K, and then what? We want these to be in global coordinates, ordered by lifetime. And I'm not even going to wire it up, I just want to see. Maybe I don't like the sphere emission shape, so let's just do a point. Maybe the random color is not a good choice either. Let's see how it looks when I wire it up first. So we're going to grab the dash particles when we enter the state. Particles dot emitting. Oops, I put this in the wrong place. This needs to go down to the leave state dash. Cool. That looks all right. I think I'm going to get rid of that random color picker. And I'm just going to go with, whoops. I'm just going to go with this color here for the initial color, and then we're going to reset that. And I'm also going to increase the amount to something like 40, just so that there's no gaps in it. And we're going to turn off the lifetime randomness as well. So we get a nice even consistency. Okay, and then we're going to turn the actual lifetime down by 1/10 of a second. Probably could even turn it down to 0.1. That looks cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's shaping up. No, it definitely needs to be longer than that. Yeah, so just something somewhat subtle to give the impression of like a motion blur is basically what I was going for. What I might do is I might change the scale here. I might make it bigger to start so it covers more of the player. Hello, Mr. Oblivious, or M. Roblivious. No, Mr. Oblivious. Welcome to the stream. This game, so for GMTK Jam, the theme is Roll of the Dice. And my game is essentially a 2D top-down shooter where instead of health, traditional health bars, the enemies have dice over their heads, and the player has to shoot the appropriate matching dice, or die rather, at the enemy. So this guy's number 2, and I've got number 2 next up on my queue, so I'm going to hit him, and he dies. Now I've got 3 and 1, so I'm going to hit that guy with 3, but that doesn't match. But I've got 1 here, so I can kill that guy. That's it, and it's basically just a 2D top-down shooter kind of game with that mechanic. And then I'm just working on dashing now, so just adding a player dash. We also have to make that dash refresh the dice that are in the magazine, so to speak. Will you be able to switch the dice? Yeah, so the dash that I'm adding at the moment will refresh. So it's not going to give you control over which dice or which die you have selected, but it will like empty the selection and refresh it with new dice. So you will have some control as a player over the dice that you have, and also I'm going to bias the random generation of the dice in favor of the player to always include at least 1 or 2 dice that are guaranteed to hit an enemy that's currently on the screen, or kill an enemy that's currently on the screen rather. So that's kind of what I'm going. I don't want to make it based purely on randomness because that's kind of frustrating. So giving the player some control over it. I want the player to have more control than there is randomness, but I also want randomness to be a factor just a little bit because it will change how the player sort of plays the game, I think. Okay, let's create a little... Oh, should I just do footstep particles all the time? Putting a thumb on the scale, so to speak. Yeah, exactly. What do you think about doing footstep particles all the time, any key? Would that be too much? It's bad you can revert and you learned a thing. That's true. Speaking of revert, I'm going to commit what I have done. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do these footstep particles and then I'm going to take a break, I think. Need probably like a half hour, an hour break just to rest my mind a bit. I like Mrs. Frizzle. Ah, good old Miss Frizzle. Full of wisdom. So we'll do our trusty old scale. We're going to make the gravity go the other way because they're footstep particles, which means they're like dust. Where's my direction? Here it is. We're going to make the initial direction down. Mission shape is going to be a sphere. Well, let's see how that looks. Oh, this needs to be not local coordinates. Yeah, I think that might be probably not good, but when dashing, I think it might be good. Whoops. Let's see how it looks. That's pretty cool. I think I'm going to put it under, though, and also probably change the scale down even more. I wonder if instead of white, they should be one of these other colors. Like this blue or something? Turn the scale back up just a little bit. I don't know, blue or white? Or is it too much, or should I just not do the footstep particles? Should probably also add a cooldown for the dash. Maybe just like a 1 second one. Stick with the blue. You like it? Okay. I can stick with the blue. All right, one more thing I want to do before taking my break is I do want to get this dash to reload the dice, which is going to be really easy because when I enter the state dash, I can just call load dice. There we go, one line change. So, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't mind all my freaking dice. All right, well, that's not appropriate. So let's fix that. Exactly, top 10. Of course. I honestly don't know why that happened. It's probably just a UI issue. Dice loaded. Yeah, I'm not... I have to remove and queue free the children from that container. So it was just a UI issue. So now you can see that I've got 1, 2, 4, and 2. And now I've got 2, 3, 4, 4. And now I've got 2, 4. So that's working really nice. Yeah, so it's erasing the previous dice and just outright replacing them. That can be tweaked later on if I feel like that's appropriate, but yeah, I definitely need... It's kind of a rough player experience to have to look away from the action to check which dice I have next. And so it either needs to be really obvious which one's loaded, or I think I mentioned this earlier, I think what I might do is just add a little indicator above the enemy, or maybe make the dice above the enemy animated when you currently have your next dice is going to kill them. I don't really want the difficulty of the game to come from like needing to check back and forth. It's more about like managing your dice than it is like to check to make sure you've got the right one, right? So I think what I'm going to do is add some sort of really obvious indicator to the enemies, each enemy, to say, hey, can you kill this enemy or not with what you've currently got loaded? And I think that's just going to create a better player experience, but it doesn't change the core mechanics. It just removes an annoyance that shouldn't be there, you know? You still have to manage your dice. You still have to be careful when you dash. You still have to pay attention to the cards that are flying around you. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, well, that was a very productive stream. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Unfortunately, I do need to take a break for probably a little while. Been working since very early in the morning. I need to come back refreshed after my break and do some more work on this. I might stream again later. I don't know. I will probably be streaming tomorrow, right around the release time. So maybe on the stream, I'll release my game, submit the game on the stream, and then play some of the other entries. So I think that'll be really fun to do on stream for tomorrow. But we'll see if I come back tonight. Yeah, we'll see. See how I'm feeling. All right, thank you everyone. Really appreciate it. Oh, okay. Hey Brandon, I'll explain the game to you real quick before I head out. But thank you everyone for watching. Let me explain the game real quick before I head out. So, GMTK Jam, the theme is Roll of the Dice. What I've done is I've created a little 2D top-down shooter game where instead of the enemies having traditional health, they have dice over their head, and you have to hit them with the matching dice number by shooting in order to kill them. So you can see here I've got number 1 next up on my queue here, and this is a number 1 enemy, so I can hit him. Then I've got a number 2, but now I've got 2 number 1s. So I can either just shoot those at the enemy and they do nothing, or I can dash and I get a refreshed set of dice. So that's basically the game. More to come, but yeah, that's how it's going. And then it's basically just like a roguelike setup where you go to each room, you have to kill all the enemies before you can progress, all that kind of good stuff. So that's the idea. Cool. All right, thanks everyone. Have a good rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next stream either tonight